Hi, I'm Ian and I'm the Lonely Chef. And we have a fabulously funny show for you in the next half an hour. At the end of the show there's a number and I want you to jot it down and call me because, well, I'm single and I'm looking for a date and possibly a relationship and who knows, maybe even marriage. I'm looking to meet somebody special. I'm fabulously wealthy. I want to settle down and I want to share this wealth with that special person and just live happily ever after. So enjoy the show and hopefully we'll meet. Until we do, goodbye. Oh, one more thing. I do happen to lie an awful lot.
Lonely, I've been searching for so long. Lonely, only hoping you're the one who will change my life and make these dreams come true. Lonely, the time goes on and on. Lonely, still searching for the one. I would sail the 7 oceans, cross the burning sand, till the day I find you, never to be lonely again.
Well, you're probably wondering by now what the heck I'm doing, but, well, I should mention to you that many years ago my ancestors were samurai. We have this heritage that goes way back. In fact, I had 3 uncles one time way back, and they had a little competition with these swords of peace, as they like to call them. And they were standing there in one of the Japanese rice paddies, just having a little bit of sporting fun one day. And they all drew their swords, and the first one said, well, see that fly over there, just buzzing over there? I'm going to see if I can hit him with my little sword. So he pulled it out, cut the fly right in half. Well, the other guys were clapping and stuff like that. So the second one said, well, I can do better than that. Watch this. So he drew his sword out and he went, "Hoo-yah!" like that, see? And he cut his wings off. Fly fell down to the ground. Yeah. So anyway, the true uncle that's closest to me, he pulled out his sword. Hi-yo! Watch this. That's Japanese for watch this. So he went and pulled out his sword and he saw the fly and he went, "Yeah!" like that. Well, the fly just flew away. So the other 2 uncles were laughing at him and stuff. He said, "You missed him, you missed him." Well, my uncle says, "Well, yes, I did, but that fly will never reproduce again." So, anyway, we've got a wonderful sushi meal to cook up in the next little while, and I've got a beautiful karate date. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a couple of seconds. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, well, I got to tell you, I met the most beautiful girl in the world. There may be something special happening here at this little meeting, get-together tonight. Her name is Shailene, and I met her at a karate tournament, world champion karate tournament. I was representing British intelligence, and it kind of surprised a lot of people, I think, because I was the only one from British intelligence that was actively involved in displaying the incredible martial arts power that I do have. These hands are true lethal weapons, and I would show them to you, but the Official Secrets Act of Great Britain says I have to wait at least 30 years before I can show this to you. So I can't show it. But needless to say, I did win the championship. I, in fact, won both the men's and the ladies' event. So now, what happened afterwards is that the runner-up, Shailene, became very interested in what I was doing with my hands. So I said, well, why don't you come over to my apartment and I'll cook you up some sushi? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to cook some sushi up today. But I also explained to her that I would show her my little etchings or my pictures, and this is really interesting. I'm quite pleased with this because I actually ended up on the front cover of a magazine, and it shows the kind of weapons that I'm proficient in. I mean, I'm good at tank driving. What? I'm good at tank driving. I'm good at helicopter piloting, all kinds of things. So, you know, what can I say? I'm a kind of an impressive kind of guy. All right, well, we're going to get back to some sushi here, and I'll show you what we're doing with the raw ingredients. Now, this is some fresh tuna that we have from Hawaii. This just happened to be something that I needed for this recipe. So I flew over on my private jet and rented a couple of aqualungs and stayed under for about 30 hours. This was an exciting time for me because this was a pretty big tuna. These particular tuna are quite vicious because, well, they don't want to end up like this one did. And I also picked up some salmon, and we're going to, now this is deliciously fresh salmon and tuna. What we're going to do is to make up some sushi. And I'm going to go through the entire process with you. And it's a great way to spend a lot of fun on a date. If you're a young lady sitting at home and you want to have somebody over, it's a great way to entertain. And you guys out there too, it's just a lot of fun. So, all right, what do we need to make sushi? Well, first of all, we need the main ingredients here. Besides the tuna and the salmon, you need to get one of these little mats. Now, these mats are available in most Japanese or ethnic food stores. They're just simple little mats, all right? You need a couple of them, or however many people you're having over, buy 6 or 7 of them. Now, you also need some of the seaweed, which is called nori. How do I know this, you might ask? Well, as I mentioned earlier in another show, I am or was with British intelligence, and I did speak 12 languages. I do know Japanese fluently and many others, including Gaelic. And this particular seaweed is gathered off of the east coast of Japan. These Japanese folks, they go out there and they dredge this seaweed up, and it's sun-dried, and it's absolutely nutritious, delicious stuff. But you need this. And all you do is place that onto these mats here. It's that easy. But now we've got to put some rice in there. So how do we make the rice stick? I mean, you've probably all gone to sushi restaurants and, you know, how do you make the rice stick together for this type of stuff? Well, I'm just going to show you that. So we've got some rice, and we're going to move over to this pot here, which is boiling, and we're just going to throw this rice in. I've made about 4 cups of rice here, 4 cups of water, that's all you need. And we'll just let that cook. Now, the ingredients to make this thing become sort of a sticky kind of rice are quite simple. You need some rice vinegar, which I have over here, and you can buy this in any store. And you also need a little sugar, which I will put in when the rice is cooked. So let's go to the preparation of the fish. Now, you can use just about anything that you want in this sushi, and it's a lot of fun because you can make some really pretty things happen. You also need an extremely sharp knife. And the trick in doing this is to cut slivers of fish across here like this. And these will become the elements of your sushi. You can make it extremely colorful. And I'll show you how all this comes together in just a few minutes. With the salmon, we just take slices of this. Now, usually what I do is find the tail section. The reason that I take the tail section is that there's no bones in there, so you don't have to mess with the little rib bones that salmon have. And you just slice the salmon like so. And all of this will become a pretty picture in your sushi when you finish with this. Now, we also have, as a complementary thing of the color and stuff in this thing, some spring onions. And we'll be coming back and cutting these up in just a second. But let me just take you to some of the other things that we have. We have some red caviar. And we also have, whoa, let me just check this rice for a second here. Yeah, that's doing well. We'll just leave the lid off there for a second and turn that down. We have some red caviar, which you can see. We also have some black. Now, I had to personally go to Russia because this is really where you only get the caviar. And I had to find a particular kind of fish. And it's only in certain areas of Russia that these fish exist. And this happens to be a vulgar sturgeon. And the vulgar sturgeon is a large fish. It's about 20, 30 feet long. And again, you have to use special lures. Now, the problem with me going into Russia is that they know that I'm one of the top British Secret Service agents. And so what I had to do is go in over the top of Russia, parachute in, and I had to do a free fall because radar is pretty sophisticated right now, and well, they could pick up a parachute. So I did it without a parachute. I do it all the time. It's the kind of thing that I'm used to as a top agent of British intelligence. Anyway, we'll be back in just a second. We'll finish this off, and Shailene will be coming through that door in just a little while. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with some sushi. Okay, we're back. We're going to get this sushi finished, and it's so easy and so much fun that I really do recommend that you do this. Now, keep in mind that it only takes a few minutes to prepare this. In fact, most of the meals that you'll see on this show are done in real time. It takes 20, 24 minutes to fix these things up. I don't go into the details of the measurements of the certain items, but that's all available in either the books, or you can get the copy of the tape of each show if there's a particular recipe that you like. But let's get back to fixing up this salmon. The rice, by the way, is cooking. It's almost ready for some additional ingredients, and I'll come back to that in just a second. But a good way to get the skin off of this thing is to make a little notch into the back end of the salmon, slide the knife along the skin, and there you go. You have this beautiful piece of salmon here. Yeah! I'm sorry, this is just reflex actions. Every time I see something red, it sort of triggers a defensive mechanism somewhere. I'm so used to rescuing people that, well, what can I say? I mean, I just rescue people, I help them out, I give them my homes, whatever needs to be done, I do. That's really the kind of guy I am. And as I've said many times before, I am really a nice guy. If I had any friends, you could ask them. So, but anyway, let's continue cutting up some of this salmon. We make nice cuts along here like this. This is all going to be our filling. And we also have the tuna. So we've got that stuff. Let's put that over there. We have the tuna. Just make a few more slices here. Now this tuna needs to be very fresh. Remember that, it needs to be very fresh. So we'll just move that. Now this is actually an art in Japan. And a lot of the chefs that do this in restaurants, they actually go to these sushi schools, and which reminds me that I was instructed by one of the best. And she was, yes, it's true, it really is true. And her name was Sushi. I love sushi if I love sushi. Well, that's an old joke, but anyway, it's a real art. And what you can do is you can take these, you do need a sharp knife, and you take these onions and you just slice them so fine, like so, and this all becomes part of the table and sushi decoration. See how thin those slices are? And we'll just see if it goes together. Now the rice, as I mentioned, to make this sticky, you just need a little rice vinegar. You don't need much, just a couple of glugs. How many glugs, you might ask? Great, that's just perfect. Now you stir that in, and then you add a touch of sugar. Not too much, just a couple of bits and pieces. Now there's about 4 or 5 cups of rice, 4 or 5 cups of water, about a quarter of a cup of sugar, and some rice vinegar. And we just turn that off and let it cool. And that's all you need to do to make this special sushi rice. Now I had prepared some a little bit ahead of time, and I have it over here. So here's our sticky rice. Now we just mold this, if you like. You can feel it. It's still a little warm, but it's nice. And what we do is we take our nori, now that's the seaweed, and we place it on the mat. And you can have a lot of fun with this. You can put all kinds of things in here. You just spread out some of the rice, about a quarter of an inch thick or so. And if you can imagine both of you sitting at the table doing this, get rice all over your hands and fingers, and you can nibble and suck and do all sorts of weird and wonderful erotic things. You know, it's great. And now this is where it starts to get really exciting. Now what you need to do is to leave a strip of the seaweed at one end, because that's where you need to join these rolls together, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Now, doesn't that look absolutely delicious? All right, let's wipe your hands off. It gets kind of sticky, as I said. Now, we have lots of fun. We go back to our salmon, and we just lay this in. Let's lay that in there, like so. All right, now let's get fairly fancy and put in a couple of little shoots of, and this is all the kind of stuff that you can do at the table. It's a lot of fun. All right, and then you take the bamboo shoot, okay, and you just, let me just move this down a touch here. Put this to one end, and you just roll. Like so. Now when that is in a, now remember the edge here, we need to just put a little rice vinegar, and it will stick the end, so you just rub your fingers across here like this. Now you go into a sushi restaurant, of course these guys are experts at this, and they make it seem so much easier than I'm doing it, but I tell you, it's a lot of fun. So you just roll that over and that will stick. Then you take this whole roll, and then you wrap it again in there, and you have this wonderful sushi meal. Just give it a good squeeze. Okay, then what happens, just take this out. Then you use your very sharp knife again. Yes, we'll take this one here, and then you start cutting. Oh, this just looks absolutely delicious. Then you take a little tray, and oh, that's a dirty one there. We'll just get another tray here. And we start to lay this out into the middle. Now you can see that we've got this nice sushi look. And as I say, you can do this in lots of time. There's no hurry to this meal. You can just Do it very easy. And just start to dress it up a little touch here. Let's just move this around. And then you take some of the caviar. And let me see if I've got another little knife here. Let me see. Yeah, we'll take some of this. Just put it on the top. Like so. Doesn't that look delicious? And you can put all kinds of things in here. You can put licorice if you want to. I mean, you can do all kinds of weird and wonderful things. You can surprise one another. Then you can take a touch of the black and add that. Maybe on just a couple of them. Okay? And then you need something to have with this stuff, and this is called wasabi sauce. It comes in little cans like this, and I guess you can get it at just about any Japanese food store. And it's just a powder. You just mix it up with some water, and you need a pair of chopsticks, and then you're ready to do this. You need a little soy sauce, which I'll bring over in just a second. We'll go to the table because Shailene is going to be coming there in any second. I think I should put a little music on. I've got my little mood machine here. Here we go. Let's get the old stereo going. And at this point, we'll leave you for 2 minutes. We'll come back with Shailene and we'll try some sushi. See ya. Okay, listen, Chuck, I can't do it right now. Look, no, man, I can't do it. I mean, you've asked me to be technical advisor and stuntman for your films for the last... oh, I can't talk. I got to hang up on you, Chuck. I'll talk at you next week. My date is right here. Hey-ya! Holy moly!
Well,
come on in,
hello.
Shailene. Nice to meet you.
How are you?
I am doing just wonderful. Why don't we come into my living room here? I've prepared a wonderful dinner for you. Why don't you take a seat on the carpet here and make yourself comfortable, and I'll show you what we've got. We've got some delicious sushi that I've made up, topped with different types of caviar, and I have a little sake for you, which I'm sure you will love. And you've had this before, have you? Or
Actually, when I was in Russia, I had to be air vac'd out. I had some caviar and I had a very, very allergic reaction to it.
oh, well, let's dig into some soy sauce. Put some in here. This whole bottle is yours. It's quite filling, trust me. And we'll just start with the wasabi. This is hot sauce here, and you dig a little in here. Here's your chopsticks. Just mix it in, and why don't you try a little?
Chopsticks. Well, I've never used these.
For a copy of the program or the Lonely Chef cookbook, or to be my special guest, call 1-800-665-CHEF. Or if you'd like to write to me personally, my address is P.O. Box 740, Everson, Washington, 98247. And when taping The Lonely Chef, I stay at the beautiful Fantasyland Hotel and Resort, which is part of the adventure of the West Edmonton Mall. Join me.